What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you the fantasy recap of the 2025 round one draft. So, obviously, Cam Ward went number one overall. He's been mocked there for weeks to go. Kind of what my expectation is of Cam Ward. Dynasty, right? It's more of a long term hold. Redraft, it's kind of on the riskier side. Cam Ward has Calvin Ridley. They just picked up someone like Tyler Lockett to add a veteran in that wide receiver room, just hoping to add some help to Cam Ward. Treylon Burks, who definitely needs to make a step, otherwise he's done in Tennessee. You have Chig, who he just I don't know. He's just there, I guess. They didn't really use him much. But you have a really good running back duo in Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears to hopefully make it easier for you. The wide receiver or the offensive line unit needs to make some improvements as well. But you have an offensive-minded head coach, so your head coach is a play caller. That's always a plus for a rookie quarterback, is to get an offensive-minded guy who's had success calling plays like he did in Cincinnati. Last year, I would say it's more on the quarterback play than it was on the actual play calling. But we saw some upside there in Tennessee. So Cam Ward, really solid. I'm not as sold on Cam Ward as some others. I think if you put him in last year's draft class, there's a good chance he doesn't even make it in the first round. But it's this year's draft class. He's the first overall pick. He's going to start day one for Tennessee. So, yeah, you're hoping to get a really good evaluation of him year one. And some more pieces going down the line. But year one, probably not the best situation to be set up. Granted, it's in a more winnable division. Obviously, Houston Texans are the favorites, but you still have Indy and Jacksonville who aren't as complete of a team. But I would imagine Tennessee probably struggles year one, and it might not even be Cam Ward's fault all that much. There's just a lot more that needs to be upgraded on that roster for it to be competitive. Going down the line, we'll talk about Travis Hunter. We obviously have to, because he is going to be used as a wide receiver at times. Where I have him wide receiver wise, I have him at a 30% snap count to start the season. That's just my expectations. That's kind of where I'm at right now until we go down the line and they say how he's going to be used as a wide receiver. But I think people lose the fact of how good he was at wide receiver last year, of how good and great and elite of a corner he has been so far through high school and in college. He did not get recruited to be a wide receiver in college, right? He got recruited because he was one of the best cornerbacks in the nation. Cornerbacks. He developed, he was utilized as a wide receiver in high school. But it wasn't ever like that's high school. A lot of people play two ways, but it doesn't really transition ever into college except for Travis Hunter, where you saw the growth as a wide receiver start to grow as the years went on with Shedeur Sanders. So Travis Hunter, yes, he will get snaps. I would imagine the target share in the snaps he gets is high. That's why you're using him out there, is to get him in specific plays. You have Brian Thomas Jr. Gabe Davis is there, but I'm not as worried as Gabe Davis. He's got to take a huge step, but we haven't seen success out of him yet. Granted, dealt with some injuries. But he's going to be used with Campbell and Jordan Lewis, who got signed to Jacksonville in that cornerback room, and Travis Hunter would be the third corner. As the season goes on, I don't know how much we're going to see of him on both sides, right? I would imagine either he has to take a lower snap count on defense or a lower snap count on offense. I don't think as the 17-game season goes on, he's going to maintain playing, 80% or more at the cornerback position and, like I said, 30% of wide receiver. So he's still an elite talent. When he gets on the field offensively, he's going to impress. Am I willing to take a chance on him in redrafts? Probably not. Am I willing to draft him in Dynasty? Yes, but it's not going to be a first round pick. I need guarantee that he's playing over 50% of the offensive snaps to then consider him as a first round pick. But for a guy that's probably going to end up with an average of 30%, I don't know if I want to take that risk in Dynasty, but he's still an elite talent. I'm not trying to discredit anything about Travis Hunter. It's just the fatigue of playing in the NFL. Going down, Ashton Genty to the Raiders. This one was also mocked. Jaguars were kind of stirring the pot, seeing if they can get the Bears or somebody else to trade up with them so they could get a package. Bears kind of sat. They didn't want to use the second round pick. So Ashton Genty goes to the Raiders, where it's not the greatest offensive line, but you still have pieces there. You still like Geno Smith in his first year. You have Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. Offensive line needs improvement, but you have a guy that's going to be the guaranteed running back one, who's going to get a majority of the volume as the running back one. But my only concern is the defense for the Raiders. Now, you ask why the defense? Offenses have to control the ball, right? And if the Raiders are able to use Genty 30 times a game and they keep the opposing team's offense off the field, that is great. But if teams are able to, make it so Genty's not rushing for 300 yards a game, sorry. I mean, if it could have happened, it would have. But, 150 plus yards a game, right? I don't know how good the Raiders defense is going to be able to stack up against opposing offenses. You have to remember they have a really good defensive line, especially with Crosby and Wilkins. Wilkins was banged up. They have to make some improvements in their defense. Otherwise, your division has Kansas City, the Chargers, and Denver, to where Chargers defense needs improvement. We'll see what that looks like throughout the draft and the offseason. Kansas City has a really good defense, a really good run defense, and Denver had a really, really good defense. So you're talking about 6 games right there that are going to be tough. And you got to remember the offenses. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Bo Nix. Those are 6 out of your 17 games right there. You're also going to have some other tough opponents. You're going to have some easier opponents. But for a running back one to be taken where he was taken, it's good. I don't hate it. I like it. I think as the team improves and upgrades, it'll only get better for Genty down the road. But yeah, year one, obviously he's going to be the Dynasty 101. Not sure where I have him in redraft. We'll kind of see where the rest of the running backs go and go from there, but he's not going to be ahead of CMC and Bijan for me and Saquon right now, so we'll kind of see where he falls in that aspect. And then this one was kind of a shock to me. Ted McMillan goes to Carolina. I had Carolina taking a defensive lineman, maybe an edge, but they went wide receiver. They added another, top round wide receiver. They ended a 8th overall wide receiver this time. Weren't trying to play any games. To me, this means someone's going to get benched, and I would imagine Adam Thielen, who's been Bryce's young safety net as the quarterback in his first 2 years in the league. Xavier Legette, are you ready to give up on him yet? I don't know. You took a high draft pick in him to get it. Jalen Coker was an undrafted free agent, but Jalen Coker, in my opinion, outplayed Xavier Legette, looked better than Xavier Legette. So I would imagine it looks like Ted McMillan is the wide receiver one, Legette and Coker. He has an opportunity to be a wide receiver one year one in a Carolina offense that's very young. And I know in the beginning, in year one for Bryce Young, it was ugly. But that second half of the season for Bryce Young, he looked really good. The offense was competitive. They were able to compete with some of the best teams in the league. And they looked a lot better. You still have a very young Jatavion Sanders. Chuba Hubbard got locked in. I believe they got somebody else, and I can't think of it right now. But they still have... I'm just drawing blanks right now at the Panthers running back room, and it'll hit me here in a minute. And I don't know why I can't think of it, but they have good running backs in that running back room. So yeah, it's very young. Saw really good flashes towards the end of the season, and he has an opportunity to be the wide receiver one in a really good spot there. Colston Loveland goes to the Bears. Now, this one is interesting for me because we know that Ben Johnson likes running 2 tight end sets. The issue with me of this is you have to consider where his role is going to be year one with DJ Moore there, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet is still probably going to be ahead of him. Offensive line made improvements. They'll probably end up drafting a running back and utilize the run game. He's going to see the field. They're going to use 2 tight end formations. when they go to one tight end formations, I would say it would be more Kmet than Loveland, especially in year one. So if you're hoping to get value out of Loveland year one, it's probably not going to happen. You're hoping for some touchdown upside. Him being 6'6" and 248, you're hoping for some touchdown upside. If you're hoping for snaps and volume, you need Cole Kmet to get injured, which no one should ever project injuries, or Cole Kmet to be cut or traded, which Cole Kmet has a solid contract. It's not like it's impossible to trade him. It should be easy to trade him if they needed to. There's plenty of teams that can use a Cole Kmet-ish type of tight end. The issue with Cole Kmet is he's not a good blocker. That's been his biggest weakness since becoming a pro, is his pass blocking and run blocking has needed work. So Loveland is an upgrade in that aspect, but I don't know as far as receiving if that's a full upgrade yet, right? Komet's been a solid receiver. You look at the back half of the year, he got no volume at all, was not utilized at all in that offense, and it's not all on Cole Kmet. So Ben Johnson will be an upgrade and will help the tight ends be utilized differently, but I would not expect year one Colston Loveland to be very productive, and it's nothing to do with him at all. It's more to do with how the offense is. But you also have to realize Bears spent a 10th overall pick on him, so they're eventually going to use him. Year one, probably not. Year 2, 3 is where we start to see him utilized more. Going down is the other tight end, Tyler Warren, to the Colts. Now, you either loved it or hated it with the Colts picking Tyler Warren. You loved it if you were the Colts because you got Tyler Warren added. You hated it if you were a Tyler Warren fan and wanted him for fantasy or dynasty value, because the Colts have not been able to successfully utilize one tight end. They find ways to use multiple tight ends, but over a length of time, the last 2-3 years, they've not been able to find a solid piece at that tight end that overtakes everybody else. So I would imagine Mo Alley Cox, Jelani Woods, who missed all of last year, will be competing for that tight end one spot, but I would imagine Tyler Warren very early on, if not as the season starts, is that tight end one. So you're hoping that the quarterback play gets better, though. That is your number one hope, because you have a lot there offensively with Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, and even Anani Mitchell, who are all used in different ways, which is tough for the tight end. And even with that, solid offensive line followed by a solid running back in Jonathan Taylor. So Tyler Warren needs some play calling his way and needs some definite improvement in quarterback play to have a very productive season this year. But he should be a tight end one for the team. I'll continue to go down. Emeka Egbuka. This one, if you were hoping a chance for him to be wide receiver one for a team, it didn't happen. But he has a really solid offense he's going to in Tampa Bay. Obviously, there's going to be a different play caller, but it's not the worst situation, right? You still have Baker Mayfield as your quarterback. You have the talent in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there as well. If you were the other McMillan dynasty owner, you're probably really pissed about this, because he then would take the back seat and would probably go to the fourth wide receiver. I imagine this is because Mike Evans is getting up there in age. Chris Godwin's coming off of a big injury and possibly not being ready to start the season. Yet again, this is very early in the offseason. We'll see how this goes. There is a chance that Chris Godwin's out early to start the season, and he fills in and could be a wide receiver too then. Obviously, then McMillan would get more work, but we're looking for a similarity in JSN with Egbuka in this, as far as what type of value you want to get out of him. You're hoping for a JSN type of situation to go to where there's just talent in front of him. Not every mouth could be fed, and he sees upgrades as the years go on, just because of the way the offenses changes with age. So age and health. But I still think he's a solid pick. It's a really good landing spot for him. You might not see all the production you want to see, but with how Evans and Godwin's injury statuses were last year, you could see him be a wide receiver 2 for the team at minimum. Amari Hampton goes to the Chargers now. People that wanted him to go to Denver were probably upset, but he goes to a solid piece in the Chargers. They were a playoff team. They had a really good offensive line that's only going to get better, right? We'll see what else they take. They got rid of both their running backs. It's now Najee Harris, who signed a 1-year deal, I believe, and then Hampton. So if you look at the role for Hampton, I would compare it to being the J.K. Dobbins of the team and Najee being the Gus Edwards. Najee's still going to get work. Like, Najee has been a solid running back, whether you want to admit it or not. Najee Harris has been a solid running back in his career. He's not been an explosive running back. He's not been an elite running back, but he's been solid. He's been a solid 1,000-yard rusher, a guy that's going to ground and pound all game, going to wear your defense out, and, you win off your defense, which is how Harbaugh likes to run his offense. So, yeah, Amari and Hampton, I think it's a great landing spot for him. If you're an Amari Hampton fan, granted, he's not the guaranteed running back one, but I mean, we saw the roles that Warren got with Najee ahead of him, and there was times where Warren outsnapped and outproduced Najee. So don't be fully discouraged that he landed there with Najee being there for 1 year, and it's not like an elite running back is ahead of him. Matthew Golden then goes to Green Bay, to where this situation is so difficult because the Green Bay Packers have Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and Dontavian Wicks. They have 4 wide receivers that they utilized in different roles last season, and depending on who you liked, there was a lot to like there. Obviously, some injuries happened to that wide receiver room, especially Christian Watson. I would imagine Packers have to be shipping somebody out. I can't imagine they keep all 5 wide receivers, and obviously you're not going to cut the guy you just drafted in the first round. So we'll see what that wide receiver room looks like before we start to really evaluate Matthew Golden's expectations this season. As of right now, they're not the highest, but we've seen similar scenarios to where Xavier Worthy last year was, the pass catcher 4 on the team. He didn't know how he's going to be utilized, a speedster, but then Rashee Rice was out all year. Hollywood Brown was basically out all year. Travis Kelce wasn't as utilized, so Xavier Worthy was able to take a huge step in that offense. Matthew Golden may have a similar outcome, but Green Bay Packers are also a run-first team. They want to utilize Josh Jacobs. That's why they acquired him. So Matthew Golden, it's very tough at this moment to really have a lot to like about his situation. I will say that. But we're still very early in the offseason. So we'll see what that wide receiver room looks like at the beginning of the season, and then reevaluate where our expectations are for Matthew Golden. And then a couple picks later, the Giants trade back into the first round, and they get Jackson Dart. Now, I've said this as soon as he got traded. As far as dynasty value out of Jackson Dart, if you are taking him, your expectation should be he's not playing year 1. I would just, if you draft him, don't go, hey, eventually he'll get in this year. There's a very good possibility it happens, don't get me wrong. But that probably means bad for the coaching staff in New York. There's obviously some pieces there with Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton, who Malik Neighbors became an elite wide receiver already in his first year. Wan'Dale Robinson was a very solid short and gain wide receiver, and Darius Slayton, when he got his targets, he looked good. Obviously, the tight end play is not good. The offensive line definitely needs some improvement there. Tyrone Tracy had a really good rookie year, but he's an older rookie at that. So, yes. Would I be surprised if Jackson Dart plays at all this year? No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But do I expect him to? I would hope not, because if you want Daboll in there, Russell Wilson better be doing good. If Russell Wilson's doing bad and that offense looks bad, there's a good chance they're going to get rid of Daboll and go with a new head coach with a new quarterback. It's Jackson Dart is who I mean, with that wide receiver room they have, and build off of that. So, yes, Jackson Dart, my expectation, probably shouldn't play year 1, especially with where he's drafted. Sit a year, learn the offense. If Daboll's still there, learn that offense, build some chemistry with your weapons, and then next year come out firing. So, As far as fantasy guys, that is it for round 1. Jackson Dart being the last guy. But going back up to where, we have next. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders was the shock. I would say shock, not going to Pittsburgh. At least Pittsburgh. But shock not going in the first round. And there's going to be questions of what to do with Shedeur Sanders. I will say this. Cleveland has 2 picks. 2 out of the top 4 picks in the second round. I'm not sold on Kenny Pickett, definitely. Not sold on him. Joe Flacco is up. He's old. He shouldn't be quarterback for much long. Would your opinion change on Shedeur Sanders going to Cleveland in the second round than in the first round? I would say no, right? They added a huge defensive piece. They got some really great draft capital out of that trade. And then Shedeur Sanders is going to do what he would have done if he was taken with this second overall pick. So I wouldn't be too concerned if he goes to Cleveland. The other scenario is he goes number 8 to the Saints, to where if he goes to the Saints and Derek Carr is out all year, guess what? Shedeur Sanders is battling Spencer Rattler in a new offense with a new head coach for the quarterback 1. Would you be mad if Shedeur Sanders goes in the second round to the Saints and has the opportunity to be quarterback 1? I wouldn't. My expectations don't change then at all. So I will say the worry then does happen if he goes past it, because we look at some of the other teams down here, and unless a team trades up, realistically, the Bears, I would say the Jets probably shouldn't. The 49ers definitely not. Dallas shouldn't. Indy is a possibility. I'd say a smaller possibility, but their quarterback play has been bad. They only got Daniel Jones added, so it's not like, Daniel Jones hasn't been successful in the NFL, especially as a quarterback. He's more valuable as a running back, it seems. And then the Rams, if they want to get somebody behind Stafford, but you have to remember this would be their first pick. They don't have another second round pick. So this would be the first pick of their draft, and then it's that until the third round would be Sanders. But Arizona, Miami, Cincy, possibly Seattle, but Seattle just signed Darnold to that contract, so I wouldn't be likely. But then you get Denver, Tampa, Green Bay, LA, Buffalo, Carolina, Houston, Baltimore, Detroit, Washington, Kansas City. Those guys aren't taking quarterbacks. So unless a quarterback or a team trades up to take them in the second round, it does get scary. But if he goes Cleveland or the Saints, I'm not worried about it at all. And then some of the other guys that are still in the draft, right? Quarterback wise, obviously not the highest. I'm not sold on Mr. Tyler here. That's for sure. The hype he got was unreal. Jalen Milrose there, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, McCord, Dylan Gabriel. There's some other names at quarterback. Obviously, Sanders is above them all. Trayvon Henderson, Judkins, Johnson, Scadaboo, Sampson, Neal, Giddens, Harvey, Etienne. Those are some other names in the running back that we expect to see today go. I believe, like I said, it is around 2-3 today, so we expect to see some of these names start to fall off of the best available list. And then wide receiver Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris-Burden, Beck Royals, my boy Torrey Horton, are just a few names on the wide receiver. And then tight end, unless these guys land in some really good spots, I'm not sold on any other tight end in this class as of right now. One of these guys has to land in a really, really good spot to where they are somehow able to either have the tight end 2 role or compete for the tight end 1 role, for me to be really high on them, especially in dynasty drafts. So hope you guys did enjoy. I will unfortunately not have another video going up the next couple days. My next video will be going out on Tuesday, if that, unfortunately, but we'll recap the draft then, kind of go over, get a little more awareness of where we're at with all positions, because a lot could still change. So hope you guys did enjoy this, and we'll see you in the next one.